And welcome back to yet another Buffalo Bills pregame. The Bills are in the conference championship, and we got the gang all together. We're joined by Dan. Jared is back with us, and Sean. Been a long time since we've seen you, Sean. Thank you so much for being back for the conference championship pregame show. Quick recap of what we just saw with the Ravens game. Sean, it's been a while since we spoke to you. So, what is your immediate reaction to the Ravens' performance?
I think the Bills did a masterful job on defense. I think they're not getting the credit they deserve. I think Bobby Babich and them actually playing a lot of man-to-man and getting out of their base nickel defense was huge. They got, they didn't get as many sacks as you'd like, but they had pressure all night on him. End of the game, not as much, but I mean, you get three turnovers, and every single team that won their games this weekend had no turnovers. And, Josh, didn't put up, wow stats, but I think you're kind of turning into the Chiefs as far as winning games, not wow style, right? You're just taking care of the ball. You're running it. You're getting possession. You're keeping it away from the other star quarterback. And the Bills have done a really good job at doing that, and they haven't gotten really any credit. And it's kind of ridiculous.
Jared, any thoughts to follow up?
No, I mean, Sean pretty much said most of it. During the game, they kept on mentioning TreDavious White on TV, and I'm like, oh no, like that they're setting up the pick six, like he's gonna run it back on us. But no, it was just an I think I may have said it in the pregame show last week, I can't remember, but I think I said, or at least I thought, whatever team plays mistake-free football is going to win this game. And the Bills, zero turnovers. The Ravens had three. They put up a stat during the game that said the Ravens are 0-43 whenever they have three or more turnovers. So, I mean, I guess we were destined to win this game essentially. Yeah, I mean, it's just if you play mistake-free football, you're gonna win. And like, and I think if the Ravens had done the same thing, they would have actually won. But we did better. Simply put, we were the better team.
Dan, do you agree? Was it the culmination of history where we faded to beat Baltimore?
Yeah, I mean, I would say I think that was the main difference was the fact that the Ravens had three turnovers and the Bills had zero. It wasn't like I don't think there wasn't too many highlight type plays for the Bills on offense, but they got the job done. They moved the ball. Josh Allen played really efficient. No, he wasn't sloppy with the ball or anything like that. When Lamar had that fumble and the interception, and of course the drop and fumble by Mark Andrews. I think when you're in the playoffs and you make it this far, that is the difference. Is that who's gonna play mistake free? And like Sean had said, the way that the Chiefs have been winning a lot of games lately. Where it's not the most glamorous game, but they always end up getting the job done.
Turning ahead to look at the Chiefs, Jared, we'll start with you for this one. What kind of emotional preparation are the Bills going through as we prepare to take on Kansas City?
Well, I mean, the first thing you think of when you think of this matchup is, oh, here we go again. We're in the playoffs. It's the Chiefs. Are we finally going to get over this hurdle of not being able to beat the Chiefs in the playoffs? We beat them in the regular season, what, three or four times in a row now? I think four. And now, what, two or three losses now in the playoffs. And it's just we got to get over that psychological hump, basically. Just we got to get that out of our heads and just play our game, the same game we played against the Ravens this weekend.
Dan, what do you think we can do to minimize distractions, make as few mistakes as possible, and avoid unfair calls by the refs?
Well, I think in a way there's less pressure on the Bills playing on the road just because I think in the past when the Bills were playing at home against the Chiefs last year, and when they played against the Bengals, I feel like they almost have an added sense of pressure with the fans a little bit. So I think they'll be playing a little bit faster and looser when they play on the road. Because what else do they have to lose? The Chiefs have ended their season the last 4 years, so I don't think there's going to be too many nerves going into this game, especially after their win yesterday.
Sean, I want you to respond. Last week, I was saying that the Ravens would be a very hard team to lose to twice, or the Bills would be hard to be hard for the Baltimore to beat the Bills twice in 1 year. And here we are going up against a team that we beat already. Do you think it'd be especially difficult to beat the Chiefs twice in a year, or do you, perhaps a better question, do you think either team benefits more from having played each other earlier in the season?
I honestly think that Sean McDermott has the Chiefs figured out. I really do. And short of special teams blunders, I think that the Bills will win. I do think that Sean has their number, and I think he has his whole team firing on all cylinders right now. You don't really have too many injuries like you had last year against the Chiefs. Um, I think that you're going to be able to do a little bit more run game. The Chiefs do not have a great rushing attack. They don't have a great throwing attack. They're average. I mean, they get the job done, but the fact is that the Bills, I think, have their number, and they've shown that during the regular season. I don't really think any of that stuff has anything to do with it. And obviously, like teams change over the year, but I think the Bills have changed for the better a lot since that game. And the fact that the Bills are running the ball like they are, and they haven't had to rely on Josh being Superman is massively different. And it's the first year we've seen that. And it looks great, and I think that does take the pressure off. You don't have to get the ball to Stefon Diggs. You don't have to rely on the number one corner for the Chiefs to shut down your top receiver because you have a bunch. I mean, the Bills just continue to spread the ball around, continue to have really good running back play, and their defense is making plays. Every player, like yesterday, last game, you had tons of players. Oliver made a play. Von Miller made a play. Like Epenesa, like Greg Rousseau, everyone was making plays. And I think that's the biggest difference. And it's really going to come down to the refs. Now, the Chiefs are the fourth penalized team in the NFL. A lot of people don't know that. But they get the calls for Patrick Mahomes in those, pivotal moments. But I don't think that comes down to that at the Bills. I think the Bills have been so sound. I mean, that Chiefs have problems with the kicking game. Butker has not been as good as he's been in the past. You can't shut down a number one receiver, like I already said. I really do think the Bills have a massive upper hand here, and the pressure is not on them at all. I really don't. I mean, I think the pressure's on, the three-peat that they're trying to get to, and that is a lot more pressure. So if the refs don't blow it for us, I think the Bills will win.
Amen to the refs not blowing it for us. All right, Dan. The last time the Bills had a playoff victory on the road was in Miami in the AFC Championship in 1993. So it's been a while since we've had a playoff road victory. Is that have been our problem facing Kansas City up to this point?
It's hard to say. I try not to look too much into past years, past teams, and they're like, they're 0-20 when this happens, stuff like that. I try not to look too much into that kind of thing. I think that I agree with Sean. I think that we definitely have the upper hand here. The Bills have been the better football team all season. I mean, they were the only ones to beat the Chiefs so far. So beating them twice, I don't think that game earlier in the year is going to have any effect on this game. It's not like we're a division. They're in the division. We played them twice already. I don't think there's gonna anything's gonna factor from that last game into this one.
All right. And Jared, do you think it's possible for the Bills to beat the Chiefs in the postseason, or is this just our only chance against them is when the refs let us beat them in the regular season?
No, I think there's definitely a chance. I mean, and not to mention the road record. Most of these games that we've beaten them on are on the road, again, regular season. But yeah, like it seems like the away atmosphere that the Chiefs have doesn't really have a huge effect on the Bills. So yeah, I think it's definitely possible. And like that's already been mentioned, the only reason the Chiefs are not undefeated right now going for the three-peat is because of the Bills. They beat them that one time, and at that game, I could feel that the Chiefs were feeling the pressure then. I think they were like, okay, we just barely lost, we just barely beat the Broncos last week. Like, when are we going to lose our first game? That type of thing. Like, because being undefeated is a lot of pressure to do the whole season. Um, and I looked Patrick Mahomes in the eyes, and I saw fear. I saw fear in his eyes. And no, they really did look tired. I'm not gonna lie. Like
You just
I
have
had
that
one.
effect on people, Jared. That's not fair.
Yes. Yeah. But now are they going to be? I don't know. But here's the thing though. They step it up in the playoffs. Like Kelsey's been playing much better in the second part of the season. So has Mahomes. And you can't discount their defense. Their defense. They're not the 85 Bears, but they are, and they're not even ranked. Like, I think they're the ninth ranked defense. But they step it up when they need to. Kind of like we were just talking about with um, almost like the flags show up at the right time. The defense themselves shows up at the right time, and yep, then they get the flag help too, and that's where the Bills, kind of circling back to my original point, need to keep their heads on straight. Like, if they, okay, oh, there's been a few flags. Don't lose your cool. Don't lose your head. Don't think, oh, here we go. Like, just stay with the plan, and everything should be fine. And I don't know. I think in the world of the NFL now, sadly, the refs kind of like the Bills now too. I mean, the Bills only had one penalty in the Ravens game, so
Maybe we're just a perfect team. Like maybe we used to play penalty-less football.
maybe.
All right, quick answer for one last question. I was allowed to choose a question this time, everybody. And so, in the spirit of the inauguration, we're a handful of preemptive pardons signed today. So, who would you like to give a preemptive pardon to for this game before it even starts? I'll go first to give you a minute to think about it. But I'm going to go with my boy Bass. He's had a great season. He played really well in weird conditions here Sunday at the game. And we're going to Kansas City, where you have even weirder wind conditions there in the Midwest, a loud crowd, and it's going to be cold, hard football to kick. I count on the Bills to play well enough to not leave it to Bass's any mistakes he might make. Dan, we'll go to you next. Preemptive pardon.
Well, my first thought was give it to Clete Blakeman. He's the ref on Sunday, so maybe he'll help us out a little bit. But my second thought was Damar Hamlin, just because I feel like he's had it seems like pretty quietly he's had a great year. I think initially after what had happened, I think the Bills kept him because they might have felt like they're obligated to keep him after that. And I think he struggled a little bit last year. But this year, I think he's really stepped up, and he's been a big role, or he's played a big role on the success of that defense. So I'll give it to Damar Hamlin.
I was hoping the refs would get mentioned. All right, Sean.
Matt Collins, man, he brings the juice. He commits that penalty in the Broncos game. But the amount of just energy he brings to the Bills is just another level. So if he gets one of those penalties and the Bills are rolling, like I'll give it to him.
Heck yeah. Jared.
Yeah, just to echo that point, Matt Collins, Jordan Phillps, like, they bring so much energy, but they also got to know to cool it, because you don't want some stupid penalty to ruin a drive or something like that. I'm gonna give it to Sean McDermott. It seems like every time something happens, anything happens, we gotta fire Sean McDermott. It's time for him to go. No, 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 no. He's one of the best coaches in the NFL. He's maybe the best coach on the Bills ever, and I know that's like a sin to say because Marv Levy just turned 99, but like, yeah, I'm giving it to McDermott. That he deserves so much credit, and he just doesn't get it.
All right, awesome. Who do you pick to win, Jared?
Why do you go to me first?
I
Okay.
like you.
Oh, thank you. I gotta go with the Bills this time. I know last week I went with the Ravens. And I know that, and I'm not trying to disrespect what we already talked about, which is like, this is huge. The Bills haven't won an away game in forever, and that has to be respected going into this game. Like, this is like monumental, but it seems like the Bills have passed every one of these little tests. Like, can we beat the Chiefs at home? That type of stuff. And yeah, I mean, I think we finally get it. I think this is finally the time. There's kind of an old feeling on this team, like, because Stefon Diggs isn't there. We have these receivers that share the load. I mean, Amari Cooper like barely did anything at the Ravens game. He's technically our number one receiver. Technically, Shakir should be the number one, and that's what the Ravens are going to do. Or not the Ravens, the Chiefs are going to really be on Shakir. But I'm looking forward to seeing who else steps up when he probably only has like one catch. So, um, 31-27 Bills. There you go.
Jared, thanks for keeping it quick. Sean, who you got picked?
33-30. I got Tyler Bass redemption kick at the end.
Woohoo! All right, making the kick. Dan?
I got Bills 34-31. I'm going to go opposite of what Sean said, though. I'm going to guess that Butker misses a field goal at the end of the game, and we go to the Super Bowl.
Man, I swear we don't collude. I had the Bills winning 33-17. All four of us have the Bills picked. You take that to the bank, I think. Well, either way, we will be back next week, either for a Super Bowl preview, which would be very exciting, or for our highest rated watched show of the year. So either way, next week's going to be great. Thank y'all so much. And until then, we're Buffalo Pregame. Good night.